Hey, what's up, stock compounders? Brad here. So today we tackle the 15th psychology of human misjudgment in Charlie Munger's book, Poor Charlie's Almanack. This is the social proof tendency. Okay, so I'm going to start by reading some out of Poor Charlie's Almanack on social proof tendency. Then we're going to jump quickly into a Farnham Street blog post on social proof. And then we're going to ask our favorite AI, Chat GPT-4, to go a little bit deeper into social proof tendency. So we're going to start in Poor Charlie's Almanack. The otherwise complex behavior of man is much simplified when he automatically thinks and does what he observes to be thought and done around him. And such followership often works fine. For instance, what simpler way could there be to find out how to walk to a big football game in a strange city than by following the flow of the crowd? For some such reason, man's evolution left him with social proof tendency, an automatic tendency to think and act as he sees others around him thinking and acting. Psychology professors love social proof tendency because in their experiments it causes ridiculous results. For instance, if a professor arranges for some stranger to enter an elevator wherein 10 compliance practitioners are all silently standing so they face the rear of the elevator, the stranger will often turn around and do the same. The psychology professors can also use social proof tendency to cause people to make large and ridiculous measurement errors. When will social proof tendency be most easily triggered? Here the answer is clear from many experiments. Triggering most readily occurs in the presence of puzzlement or stress, and particularly when both exist. Because stress intensifies social proof tendency, disreputable sales organizations engaged, for instance, in such action as selling swampland to school teachers manipulate targets into situations combining isolation and stress. The isolation strengthens the social proof provided by both the knaves and the people who buy first, and the stress, often increased by fatigue, augments the target's susceptibility to the social proof. And of course, the techniques of our worst religious cults imitate those of the knavish salesman. One cult even used rattlesnakes to heighten the stress felt by conversion targets. Because both bad and good behavior are made contagious by social proof tendency, it is highly important that human societies, 1, stop any bad behavior before it spreads, and 2, foster and display all good behavior. My father once told me that just after commencing law practice in Omaha, he went with a large group from Nebraska to South Dakota to hunt pheasants. A South Dakota hunting license was, say, $2 for South Dakota residents and $5 for non-residents. You can probably see where this is going. All the Nebraska residents, one by one, signed up for South Dakota licenses with phony South Dakota addresses until it was my father's turn. Then, according to him, he barely prevented himself from doing what the others were doing, which was some sort of criminal offense. Not everyone so resists the social contagion of bad behavior, and therefore we often get Serpico syndrome, named to commemorate the state of a near totally corrupt New York police division joined by Frank Serpico. He was then nearly murdered by gunfire because of his resistance to going along with the corruption in the division. Such corruption was being driven by social proof plus incentives, the combination that creates Serpico syndrome. The Serpico story should be taught more than it is now because the didactic power of its horror is aimed at a very important evil, driven substantially by a very important force, social proof. In social proof, it is not only actions by others that misleads, but also their inaction. In the presence of doubt, inaction by others becomes social proof that inaction is the right course. Thus, the inaction of a great many bystanders led to the death of Kitty Genovese in a famous incident much discussed in introductory psychology courses. In advertising and sales promotion, social proof tendency is about as strong a factor as one could imagine. Monkey see, monkey do is the old phrase that reminds one of how strongly John will often wish to do something or have something just because Joe does or has it. If only one lesson is to be chosen from a package of lessons involving social proof tendency and used in self-improvement, my favorite would be learn how to ignore the examples from others when they are wrong, because few skills are more worth having. So that's what I pulled out of Poor Charlie's Almanack on the social proof tendency. I'm just going to pull a few snippets from the Farnham Street blog post here, but it is well worth a full read if you have 8 minutes. It says reading time, 8 minutes there. Warren Buffett, the 5 most dangerous words in business are, everybody else is doing it. Okay, from Warren Buffett. When we feel uncertain, we all tend to look to others for answers as to how we should behave, what we should think, and what we should do. Okay, that's social proof. Social proof can be problematic for 2 main reasons. Firstly, groups of people can reach conclusions which are suboptimal or even outright wrong. This is also known as groupthink or herd behavior. Of course, we see this all the time in the stock market. Secondly, social proof can be manipulated to guide us towards choices we would not otherwise make. In extreme cases, it can lead to groups of people becoming violent or antisocial. No one likes to be confused about what to do in a situation where other people are around to witness any blunders. The more uncertain we feel, the more susceptible we are to social proof. Right? Nobody wants to look like an idiot. Obviously, humans are very social creatures, and so this is an incredibly powerful human tendency. Okay, so I asked ChatGPT-4, define social proof tendency, explain how it can mislead, and provide antidotes for combating its negative effects. Social proof tendency is when people look at what others are doing to decide how they should think, act, or feel. It's a natural part of human behavior as we often rely on others to guide our choices, especially in uncertain situations. However, this tendency can sometimes mislead us and lead to poor decisions. Social proof tendency can mislead in several ways, and there's 3 ways listed here. Number 1, following the crowd. When everyone seems to be doing something, we may assume it's the right thing to do, even if it's not. This can lead to situations like financial bubbles, where people keep investing in something just because others are, even if the investment is not sound, right? If the investment isn't based on what the underlying asset is worth, it's based on the behavior of other investors. Number 2, groupthink. When people in a group are too focused on agreeing with each other and maintaining harmony, they might not consider alternative ideas or question the group's decisions. This can lead to poor choices and a lack of critical thinking. Number 3, false consensus. People might assume that their beliefs and opinions are more widely shared than they actually are, which can lead to overconfidence, which is another tendency we have that can lead to misjudgments, and a disregard for differing perspectives. Okay? To combat the negative effects of social proof tendency, consider the following antidotes. Think independently. Make an effort to evaluate situations and make decisions based on your own judgment, rather than blindly following the crowd. Research and gather information to make informed choices. Right? We often hear, think from first principles. Understand what the foundation is of whatever it is you're trying to figure out, and then go from there. Number 2, seek diverse perspectives. Encourage open communication and listen to different viewpoints, even if they challenge your beliefs or the group's consensus. This can help you make better decisions by considering a wider range of possibilities. Again, I feel like I keep bringing this up, but Ray Dalio and the culture at Bridgewater is really about getting the smartest people in the room, particularly if they don't see eye to eye, right? They have different perspectives on things, and really hearing having a well-rounded discourse about a given topic. So important. Number 3, cultivate self-awareness. Be aware of your own biases and tendencies, and question whether your choices are genuinely based on sound reasoning or simply influenced by the behavior of others. Number 4, be willing to change your mind. If new information comes to light or you realize you've made a decision based on social proof, be open to reevaluating your position and adjusting your course of action if needed. This isn't always a comfortable thing to do, right? We don't like to admit when we're wrong. But that's the way, right? That's the path to growth, to becoming a better investor, to being wiser, is constantly challenging these things that we hold to be true. Most of them probably aren't, right? There's probably holes in a lot of the way we see the world. So this is a superpower, to be willing to change your mind, be open to new information. By being aware of social proof tendency and actively working to counteract its negative effects, you can make more informed decisions and avoid being misled by the behavior of others. At least be less susceptible to being misled by the behavior of others. I don't know that any of us can completely eliminate this, but we can certainly work on it. So that's all I got today, guys, for social proof, the 15th psychological human misjudgment in Charlie Munger's Psychology of Human Misjudgment series. So hope you enjoyed this one, guys. I will link to the Farnham Street blog post in the description. Dig into that if you have some time to kind of deepen your understanding of this tendency. And I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.